Carl and Lou here from Games, Brains and Head-Banging Life, gbhblofficial for Sean. And it's Christmas horror movie time as we checked out the musical comedy horror that is Anna and the Apocalypse, 2017 British movie directed by John McPhail from a screenplay by Alan MacDonald and Ryan McHenry, based on McHenry's 2010 BAFTA-nominated short zombie musical. Nominated, didn't win.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that is the difference.
Yeah.
Cast. We have Ella Hunt as Anna. She's great. Yeah, I think she's
Really
great.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Malcolm Cumming as John, who I also think is really, really great in this.
Yeah.
Sarah Swire as Steph, who's also really good in this. Christopher LeVoux as Chris. Really, really good. Ben Wiggins as Nick. Good again. Marley Sue as Lisa. Mark Bennett as Tony. And Paul Kay as Arthur Savage, who might be the best thing in it.
Oh, God.
Who might very well be the
Yeah.
best thing in it. So this is a musical. But this is a musical in the high school musical sense.
Yeah.
Not in the classic way. The songs are a lot more modern, pop-orientated, choreographed efforts.
Yeah, it took me...
Took a song for us to adjust to it.
Yeah, because I was like, we don't watch much of that. And see it in this kind of concept before the horror starts.
Yep.
It was a bit like, oh, okay, this is unusual. But it looked very British.
'Cause no one ever tells you when you're young. Life's not like the books, the films, or the songs. We've been living a life for far too long, and we're tired of pretending. There's no such thing as a Hollywood ending.
Which I liked.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it was a British school.
Oh, it very, very much
Yeah.
feels like our country, where we are in the UK. It should be noted, like for me, I got super excited. I love a good horror musical. The last couple I've seen, Alleluia, was great fun. The Dark Carnival one, that aspect had a lot of cool songs on it. But I always go back to probably my favourite horror musical of all, which is Stage Fright, the remake / reimagining that came out. It's just brilliant. That is a horror musical done right. Utterly hilarious, utterly fun. Do go check that movie out. So for me, I was stoked for this. But when that first song kicked in, I went, oh, I'm not too sure I like this. Because that's not really what I wanted.
No.
However, it won me over.
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily say I remember the songs. Like, put it this way, I can sing you certain songs from Stage Fright right now.
Yeah, but this
Couldn't
one...
with Anna and Apocalypse.
No, it's there. Like, the aspects of like
I can kind of hear the tunes and the melody and the fact that a lot of it's spoken word, and what a lot of it is as well is detailing the problems that are going on. It's storytelling.
Yeah.
These songs are storytelling. And there's some good dance sequence and nice choreographed stuff. I suppose the one that stands out for the most involves the group of the Bad Boys when they're singing their song as they're killing the zombies.
Yeah.
That's probably up there as one of the best. Or Savage's final song when he's trapped them, because that's so over the top.
Yeah.
Like, that's quite good. There was quite a bit cut from this as well, it should be noted.
Oh, really?
Songs, it was a lot longer. Quite a bit was cut from this.
Okay.
But what I loved about this movie, now I think, right, it's a good movie. I don't think it's a great movie. But what I would say is the best thing about it, and the thing that shocked us the most, was how much fucking heart this movie has. And how much by the end, certain sequences and certain events that we are going to talk about will actually upset you.
Yeah.
And be like, oh, that's not fair.
Yeah.
Like, that's not right. I didn't want that to happen. And that shocked us.
Yeah.
There's a last sequence in the movie where we flash over characters who have become zombies.
Yeah.
That's fucking horrible. You're like,
I didn't
I didn't.
want that for this.
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
didn't think I'd get attached to it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I was watching, and I'm like, oh.
You actually got attached
And it's
to the supporting cast, really.
Yeah, and the film didn't take certain cheesy routes that I thought they would, which made it more impactful. So there's certain times people died and become zombies, but they didn't do what I thought they would do to make it like extra cheesy. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm glad that they didn't do that.
This is, of course, inspired by every zombie movie ever, but also some of the more famous zombie comedies. Of course, it's inspired by Shaun of the Dead and aspects like that. Shaun of the Dead could, on a dime, become a serious movie when it chose to be, but then flip it straight back to comedic edge.
Sean's mum. In
Sean's mum. The ending when they're coming out of the basement when Nick Frost's character has been bitten as well.
Yeah.
Like it can turn on a dime. You know, we go from the jukebox moment where they're bashing to "Don't Stop Me Now" by Queen to the zombies surrounding Dylan Moran's character getting ripped apart. So I mean, like, it's a full on, like, it can, and that's really good. And I think Anna and Apocalypse
It takes a skill to do that.
Yeah, and I think Anna and
It's a
Apocalypse
switch.
does it.
Yeah, definitely.
What Anna and Apocalypse lacks, if I'm honest though, is comedy.
Yeah.
I don't really remember laughing at much. I was amused, and I went, and like a little chuckle here and there. But for the most part, I wouldn't have called it that funny. Agreed?
No, not a laugh out loud, hilariously funny.
Agreed.
It was more like the situation of like, oh, ain't they silly?
Yeah. Here's a Professor Savage doing a really over the top gyrating style song, like that kind of thing. Like that's where the comedy, I guess, comes from. We're set in a place called Little Haven, Scotland, where Anna Shepherd is about to finish school. This is a very, very small town in Scotland. You can tell, very in accents, interesting.
Yeah, because Anna's dad's like from Geordie.
Yep.
She sounds like she's from like a bit of a posher part of England.
Well, Mark Benton, who plays him, has been in loads of British stuff. Loads of stuff, yeah. Absolutely. But basically, Anna's kind of sick of the town and wants to travel for a year before deciding to attend university. Something her father, Tony, doesn't exactly love. He's a widower. Her mum's long dead. That's not an angle that's really touched upon at all, that. But their relationship, I buy into it. I quickly established they are father and daughter. Yeah. I think that comes from the strength of his acting more than hers. Yeah,
and I think the fact, like, it's not a new kind of idea of small town kid wants to go on an adventure. But I like the fact that you've got like a reason for the dad to be cautious about that.
Yep.
There's an extra reason. Like, yeah. He's a single dad. She's gone off on her own. Young daughter is probably more worrying than a young son in some ways.
Of course.
I think it's a nice aspect of it.
But we can also, I think, sympathise with Anna because you quickly establish this is a one-horse town.
Yeah.
You quickly establish that. Her friends, they also have their own issues. We meet John, her best friend, a budding artist. Budding artist. He is the character that I think initially was like, there's no way in hell I'm going to like you. But and he's arguably one of my favourites. Yeah. Problem with that is they do throw in a dumb angle where he's secretly in love with her. And I don't think they needed that. I think they could have just been super best friends and it still would have had the impact of what happens.
Yeah. Because they still could be super close without being together.
Yeah. Like, did we need that? I don't know if we needed it.
I feel like I wanted to make that.
But it doesn't go to anywhere. It doesn't go anywhere because of course it doesn't.
No, but then it kind of gave a few songs where obviously you sing about her, doesn't want her to go away, things like that. So. And
then we've got budding filmmaker Chris. She's struggling with a class assignment, and a transfer student Steph, who is basically a social justice warrior trying to get a report out, but constantly running headfirst into the tyrannical vice principal, Mr. Savage.
Yeah.
We introduce all these characters in that kind of quick comedic cut version where they're moving around the school. It's actually done in Songful. This is one of the first songs. And we kind of see the way Mr. Savage behaves. No phones, keys, you're driving, it belongs to me, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
All really, really quick way to get up to speed with the characters, I think.
Yeah, if you've got that kind of format to use it.
Yeah.
Yeah, get them all in.
Then it appears we have our baddie of the movie, Nick, which Anna had a one-night stand with, and it implies he makes her life difficult, but it never really comes to fruition, and you can tell why. So I puzzle about this. I was kind of like, initially you introduced me like, oh, you're the douchebag. You kind of pick on John.
Yeah.
You know, you're mean to Anna.
I think he might have blurted it around the school they slept together.
Probably.
I've got that vibe that like he kind of wasn't very discreet about them spending the night together, and she was a bit embarrassed by it all.
Yep.
That's what I got from it.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and I agree with you in that. But what I think they wanted to do is they never went full on with him, because the reason why they don't go full on with him is because he has to change in this movie. He has to become a hero, a good guy. So you can't make him instantly hateable.
Just make him like just
a bit of a douchebag.
Just a bit of a teat, yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
And douchebags can change their ways.
Yeah.
Given the situation, absolutely. In fact, he gets a great scene later on, a really strong scene. So yeah, it's leading up to Christmas. On the night of the school Christmas show, Chris's girlfriend Lisa, she's performing in it. But Chris has gone off with Steph to a homeless shelter to film for Steph's story. You thought that this was going to lead to him not really being into his girlfriend and actually fancying Steph.
No, I thought it was that he was secretly gay.
Oh, okay.
I thought I'd going down that route of him being confused about his feelings.
Okay.
I just thought that. But then
it doesn't.
No, not at all.
And Anna and John are working in a local bowling alley. During this time, we start to see the reports of the zombie infection spreading. But everyone we know is unaware, as it were. Anna and John kind of bond over their plans for after they leave school and where they're going to go. We then go to the next morning. As we see in song form, both Anna and John leaving for school. And if you basically, so Shaun of the Dead, when Shaun is walking to the shop after the zombie apocalypse, hungover, and notices nothing, that aspect, or even, although she's aware, the Dawn of the Dead remake, when she's leaving suburbia, and you kind of get a lot of background stuff, this is what we get here.
Yeah.
As Anna and John make their way through town towards school, in song format, completely oblivious to the zombies around them.
I really liked it.
It's probably the strongest part, except for this. As I said, Shaun of the Dead did it, and probably did it better.
For turning my life around, I'm waking. Spent too long playing dead. I'm shaking these blues out of my head. Not letting anybody bring me down. I'm ready.
Yeah, it does go well with the whole teen aspect of like they're both singing about what was going on in their brain. They're not thinking at all, and like the way the cul-de-sac set out is really good. You get like quite a nice shot all the way around.
Yeah, it makes
nice
use of
shot.
stuff. It's not that she's so oblivious to anything in front of it. It always seems to be behind her.
Yeah.
So out of her eye shot.
Yeah.
And they cut between her and John singing this song until eventually they both meet at a playground. Obviously, they're planning to meet and go to school together, and the song becomes a duet.
Yeah.
But then they become aware of the zombies around them as they get attacked by a zombie Santa Claus, snowman, sorry.
Yeah.
Zombie snowman. And, there's a lot of fear and all that, but they end up decapitating using a seesaw. Here's your first sort of splatter of blood. It's nice, it's quite gory, and they both get covered in
Quite
blood.
inventive, yeah.
So it's like, okay, that's cool, we're off and rolling. Them now aware, we cut to the school where we see all the adults have reconvened as an emergency place to go to. Chris's grandmother's there.
Yeah.
Mr. Savage, Tony, and Lisa, they're all there as well, taking refuge from what's going on, wondering where the kids are, worried about that kind of thing. Mr. Savage kind of wants to keep authority, though, and he clashes with Tony about whether they should be trying to save people who are outside or just lock the doors and stay inside the school. Mr. Savage actually ends up winning this argument when you hear a military broadcast which basically says, stay where you are, we're coming to get you.
Yeah.
So he's kind of proven to be right. But you get this very early strong impression of Mr. Savage that authority is very important to him. Crazy enough, I really didn't like this character. Not because I didn't like the character because I was supposed to not like him.
Yeah.
Because, check this, when I was in secondary school, this man existed. I know this man. I remember this man. He walked around my secondary school with his hands behind his back like that, straight up,
Yeah.
spoke to you like he was a military guy. I knew this guy.
Yeah.
So, instantly I'm like, oh God, it's one of you.
Yeah.
Like that, I had the familiarity of this teacher. Fucking crazy, I really like that. Anna and John, they figure we can't go home now. We shouldn't go to school, it'd be far too dangerous. They end up going to the bowling alley, where there they meet Steph and Chris, who have taken shelter in there. They find out about the army evacuation coming to the school, so the plan is, let's wait till the zombies outside leave, and then we're going to head over there. But they end up running the zombified cleaner, run into the zombified cleaner, kill her before a load of zombie bowlers then break in. Yeah. These are the moments where you're like, it's supposed to be funny, but best you're just going to go, oh yeah, it's zombie bowling. Yeah,
just like a tool.
Yeah. They managed to kill all the bowlers. There's a lot of blood and guts in this particular scene. But obviously they realise, look, there's a lot of zombies out there. How are we going to get there? They come up with this elaborate plan, including hiding under like a tent. What is it? An inflatable.
It's a swimming pool.
Inflatable.
No, it's the ball pool, isn't it?
The ball pool, inflatable ball pool. That's right. Yeah, that thing. Yeah, that sort of thing, which does, result in some comedic hijinks, of course.
I need a human voice, something that I can hold on to in all this static noise. I need someone to break on through.
That part happens the next day after they wake up and discover that the army has been zombified. They look out the window and see the army's all been turned into zombies, so no evacuation is coming. En route underneath this ball pit, they, like I said, some comedic scenes of like an old zombie decides to sit in it. She smells bad and does a wee on them. Yeah. It's that kind of. It's very silly. The banter between the characters is what makes it work and doesn't make you roll your eyes.
Yeah, because they're teenagers, but you think, oh, it's going to be really cringe to watch. But they tend to be quite normal. I can't think of the word I'm trying to describe.
I can buy into them being normal kids.
Yeah.
Like normal teenagers. I can buy into it.
There's a couple of references, because like obviously they're of the sort of like the computer, like in the era. So some of the references they make, I'm like, yeah, that's fair enough. There's no real problem to that.
No, there isn't. It then steps up a notch, though, thankfully, as they run into Nick and his pals, who are kind of enjoying the carnage, kind of enjoying the aspect of that kind of thing, killing zombies, and we do get a really strong song sequence.
Yeah.
And what's funny, why this one is funny, is Nick's got that very, what would you call it, West Side Story feel to him, and the two guys as well, and the fact that they choreographed their dance. So it's quite funny to see these kind of characters who are like,
tough guys.
well, meathead,
Yeah,
UK meatheads. You've seen these lot standing on the street all the time in the UK.
Yeah.
So they have them doing this choreographed dancing and spinning around. That's amusing. Yeah, that's
good.
funny. But he ends up rescuing them and they all team up to head towards the school.
This is my moment and I'll fight with distinction. Will one stay focused, keep your concentration.
Anna and John end up discussing en route there about her plans, and she's still determined to go. And John's kind of like can't quite understand why this is the case, and this is kind of where he lets slip while they're heading through town that he might have more feelings for her, but she rejects him.
Yeah.
She says, "Look, we're really good friends. We're really good friends," and it's like it's awkward. It's awkward for us, and it annoyed me because I was like, "Man, we didn't even need this." We just didn't need it, and then we didn't have to have this awkward scene where, because now I'm wondering, are you about to fuck around with John and make him seem like a dick because he's lost, he's not going to get Anna. It just felt like, oh, we just didn't need this. I know I've said it before and I'll say it again. I just don't like it.
Yeah.
That's it. At the school, though, Savage is fighting, trying to maintain the authority with the parents. Him and Nick are really, really bad. Not Dick, Tony are battling over what they should do now they know that the army isn't coming. And we kind of cut before we see any decision is made. And that's important. The rest of the group, the students, they end up cutting through a Christmas tree emporium in an attempt to save some time. Yeah. This is the movies where the movie's writing goes off the wall, tracks briefly for me. This was dumb. This was a dumb decision that made no sense. You were saving very little time, and you were cutting through a Christmas tree emporium where you couldn't see anything. Yeah. It's just stupid. You wouldn't do it.
Just for the Christmassy element, wasn't it?
That's it, and to get rid of some characters.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah, because inside, of course, they're ambushed by zombies. Nick's friends are all killed, so they're out of the movie. They managed to escape out the other end, but John is bitten in the last scene when he tries to help Steph. And we were like, as we said, we were like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, really didn't expect that.
Yeah, wow. Because truth be told, the way the movie was going, I was expecting her to potentially realise by the end of the movie that she did have feelings for John and he saves her. And
they go off together.
That's what it is. That's what I kind of expected. So having bitten was like, oh, okay. So he ends up sacrificing himself to distract the rest of the zombies, allowing the rest to escape. It's a sad scene, but it's not the saddest scene.
No.
It's really, really not. And they end up reaching this school where we then find out that Savage let the zombies in a last-ditch measure to keep control.
What the fuck?
Do you know, Miss North, for such a serious journalist, your vocabulary does leave an awful lot to be desired.
You're a teacher, for God's sake.
Not so cocky now, are we, Miss Shepherd? I can't wait to show your daddy what's left of you.
Savage, please, 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 please.
So everybody splits off to find their loved ones here. Anna and Nick split off to search for Tony.
Yeah.
While Steph and Chris look for his family and Steph's car keys as well, which are in Savage's office. Yeah. Nick reveals that his father, this was a great scene. So there was a thing about earlier on in it about Nick's father, and he kind of blew Anna off.
Yeah.
So during a fight with some zombies, he reveals, and super emotional, that his father was bitten earlier in the day. And he had to kill him.
Because his father was military, wasn't he?
Yeah. Yes.
He's one of
yeah, that's right, yeah. And he had to kill him. And that's brilliant. That was brilliant. Like the emotion in his face, instantly you're like, oh, okay, this is why he's been so aloof.
Yeah.
Because he's had to be. Because now he's not being aloof, he's breaking down.
Yeah.
But he also then does something heroic as he distracts a group of zombies so Anna can go find her father. Yeah. See what I mean about what I said at the start? You couldn't have Nick be a
complete
bastard because this wouldn't work.
Or violent or kind of really kind
just
of
horrible.
Yeah.
Because this wouldn't work. You wouldn't have earned it, and I'd have been like, I can't forgive that. No. Just being a damn teenager who maybe liked Anna more and then felt rejected by her and then did a dick thing. Yeah. I can forgive. It's Stranger Things. Yeah. Think of season 1 with Stranger Things. What's his name?
Billy.
Not Billy, no,
No,
it's
sorry.
season 3.
Yeah,
The main character, the boy who gets ends up putting she's a whore on the cinema, and then ends up becoming a good guy throughout it.
Steve.
Steve, yeah, Steve.
Steve's
Forgot his name. Steve,
yeah.
yeah. How Steve's character arc is. It's a similar thing, just in
yeah.
shorter form. So yeah, for me it works really, really well. We didn't get so we get a lot of emotional scenes here. As Chris finds Lisa, his girlfriend, but discovers that her grandmother died of a heart attack. We did learn earlier in the film she's got a bad heart, and the Savage didn't care. So that's kind of like, okay, it's not quite that impactful because we didn't really know the grandmother. No. And Lisa's almost a bit of a byproduct for most of the movie because she's at the school while the rest aren't.
Yeah.
But they still managed to win that back in a pretty horrendous sequence of events. Steph, Chris and Lisa find the car keys in Savage's office. And this is a great scene, a very tense one where they have to sneak into this room and they distract the zombies using TV and video cameras. That's right. So they can get the keys. But during that, Chris and Lisa are both bitten during that scene. And they kind of just accept their fate. And that's like, it reminded me of the end of Return of the Living Dead Part 3.
Yeah.
When Thingy's been bitten and kind of his father's trying to tell him to come and he shows him to bite and stays with her instead as the place is burning down. Yeah. Whew.
I liked it.
Powerful shit.
It was, yeah. And there was a way, I think there's a way they did in the death wasn't as cheesy as I thought. I thought like they would... No, I think there's a bit like when they show like a little montage of all the people afterwards.
Yeah,
so
that's
Chris
coming
and
at...
Lisa.
Yeah.
And I thought they was going to show them like holding hands or something. Or
no, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Because let's just finish up Anna's part of the story. She finds Savage in the auditorium where he's using Tony as bait for the zombies. We should note he does get a pretty long and over-the-top song here.
Oh, yeah,
it's funny, it's amusing, it's entertaining to watch. Because Anna kind of duets with him as well at certain points.
So raise the curtain, hit the light, strike up the band for the final night. And if it is my time to go, I'll give them one hell of a show.
So that's quite good. But she gets to the stage, saves Tony, and he ends up fighting Savage. They have a fight after Savage is kind of like, oh, okay. He does that whole thing where he's like, oh, I'm sorry, that kind of thing. And he does get a cool death as he kind of falls backwards under the zombies like he's being... crowd surfed before being eaten alive by the zombies. So yeah, he gets his just desserts, as it were. We then get even a deeper moment as it reveals that Tony, during all of this, was bitten by a zombie and kind of forces Anna to leave him there. Yeah. She says goodbye to her dad as Nick arrives and he stops her from killing him. Yeah. Because he even says, like, you shouldn't have to do that, I had to do it, that kind of thing. And the two of them then leave this school. Outside, they realise they're fucked. They're surrounded by zombies and they don't know where to go. Now, during this period, we do get this montage. And this is the part where we were like, what the fuck? Actually, it might be after they're rescued. It might be at the end of the movie. I can't quite remember where this montage comes. It comes now or... So we'll just do the ending. They look like it's over for them. They hold hands. But Steph arrives in the car, rescues them, and they drive off, leaving Little Haven. Yeah. So that's kind of the end of the movie. But this montage, we basically go over characters who you cared about. Yeah. So first we see John reanimating as a zombie. Yeah. And it's like, oh. Yeah. Then, like you said, you see Lisa and Chris. And there's zombies sort of staggering around in the same room. And it implies, it focuses on their hands, and it implies about...
link hands.
But they don't. Yeah. Because they don't know each other anymore.
Yeah.
That was horrible.
Yeah, I thought we were going on a cheesy route of them holding hands. And it was like, oh, no, you're not going down that route then. Like,
and we see Tony die.
Yeah.
And you're like, fucking hell, film. Yeah. What the fuck? It's really... I hope we're getting across the impact of this as you watch the movie and get to know these characters. But it hits pretty fucking hard.
Yeah.
That used to shine. Oh, where is the life that once was mine? But while there's hope.
Yeah, that's the film in a nutshell. It's a strong movie, a good movie that has enough musical qualities to enjoy, enough comedy moments to make you smile and maybe go ha 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 here and there.
Nice colours.
You're very bright, very colourful. Nice. Yeah, feels Christmassy. That's an important aspect. Feels very Christmassy. But ultimately, the reason why I speak so highly of it is that it's got this heart. And it's great characters that you will give a shit about. Yeah. Weirdly enough, I think the one they failed the most on to create you care about is Anna. Yeah,
and I think they threw quite a lot of her to make her kind of like... what's the word, relatable and likeable. Like, she lost her mum, she wants to get away.
Yep.
All this kind of thing, and it's like,
Yeah, doesn't quite hit compared to the others. I ended up really liking the character of Steph. Thought she was unusual and a bit wacky and weird.
And I think she had more grievance than, I don't know, because like her family just said, oh, you're going off as a boarding school. Like
of course, she reveals why she kind of hates Christmas and why she's this.
Just like left on her own kind of thing. So yeah, she had obviously, and I think like her look as well. People like she bullied her. She had a girlfriend, so obviously being a teenager.
Yep.
As much as you'd like to hope people a bit more kind of accepting of all people's relationships, you're still going to get.
Of course.
Because not everyone's that open-minded.
Of course.
So yeah, I really liked her. In fact, she was American as well, a bit of a different accent.
Yep. Transfer student.
It made more sense that she would be transferred.
Yeah. Character-wise, it's mostly strong all the way throughout. I think visually it looks strong. We said about the Christmas look, but also the gore and the blood. I think the zombies look quite good. A bit more traditional a lot of the time. But then when when you have the zombies that are up close and involved in a particular scene, that they've obviously then paid and made sure extra work's gone in to make them look really, really good as well. That aspect is. Do I think it's a good zombie movie? No, that's the truth of it. It's not. If I was judging on a zombie movie overall, I'd say it was boring.
Yeah.
And we'd seen it all before. Yeah. Combine everything, so the comedy, the musical, the heart, and you have a very strong overall movie. But it needs all those parts because it's not a great musical. No. It's not a great comedy. No. It's not a great horror. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. But everything together
creates a good movie that I think is a solid 6 to 7 out of 10 if I was to give it a score. Because I did enjoy it, I smiled a lot, and I remember enough about it a few weeks later to be able to go, yeah, I think it's a recommendation.
Definitely.
It is a recommendation. Check it out. Let us know what you think of it in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and Tumblr. Go to Patreon to help us out over there. That's patreon.com/gbhbl, as well as Big Cartel, where you can find some of our merchandise. We have a podcast running on SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts. And of course, if you like this video, do us a favour, hit the subscribe button and help the channel grow. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?